lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody. It is time. We are back for another episode of the Fanatics Collect Weekly Hockey Auction Ending Watch Party. My name is Jeremy Lee. It is Sunday, January the 12th, 2025, and I am joined by Josh Madigan of the Hockey Cards Gongshow. Josh, it has been, as the kids say, a minute. How have you been?
I'm doing good. Happy New Year to you. It's the first show this year, right?
This is our first show of the year. I had our first. This is the first Fanatics Hockey. You've been doing the Gong Show. I did my first. My first show was last night. Sports Cards Live went 3.5 hours. Had a great time. Had a lot of fun with that episode last night, and here we are for some hockey card talk. I'm excited about that. You know, this is it's kind of our right in our wheelhouse here today. So we'll have some fun. There's some great cards. There's some neat cards tonight. So we'll get into talking about those. How are things going over at the Gong Show?
Things are going well. Just keep plugging away. Right. Yeah. It's a daily grind, but having a good time. I enjoyed your show last night too. Watched it last night and a little bit today while I was working on my show, and really enjoyed your. I thought you articulated well, very much what I feel about the whole kind of Panini patch thing.
Yeah. It's funny. So I was set up at the local card show today here, and the guy next to me, we were talking about that issue, and we sat and we looked and we read the back of several cards, Panini and Topps cards especially. And, the older the cards, the much more specific the company was about where the jersey piece or the relic came from and who actually wore it. And then as time goes forward and we get closer to today, it becomes much more vague to the point where they don't even know where they're getting these pieces of memorabilia from. And so it makes me sit back and reflect upon what I have in my collection and what I'm going to look for moving forward. But it's a concern, I think. And but at the end of the day, we do take a bit of a leap of faith at times with some of these cards, as far as what's in them and what the provenance is of those various pieces of memorabilia. And to a degree, I'm comfortable taking a bit of a leap of faith. Mm-hmm. But when we see that it's a different player's jersey in there, I just sort of question the intentions and the strategy that goes on at the card companies when they make those decisions.
Yeah, we were looking a week or so ago at early Black Diamond sales. 2024-25 Black Diamond was released by Upper Deck. It was their first set of the year. And one of the top 5 sales was one of the exquisite 101 patch cards for Joey Decord, the goalie for the Kraken. And what was awesome about that card is on the back, if you go find the sale on eBay, it says, "This is a game-used patch worn by Joey Decord." And I was like, bravo, Upper Deck. That's exactly what we want to see on the back of the card. So it's very, when we criticize card companies, when they do stuff we don't agree with, we have to also praise them when they do more, stuff that I think is in more line with what collectors expect.
I agree. So So just because I just saw these on my desk, I'm at the show today. There's an old school vendor across from me. His name is Dennis. He's a bit of a legend in the area. And he had these sitting in his showcase. And I don't remember these from 1990. They're called NBA Hoops Collectabooks. And he had series box 1 and box 3 from series 1. And so, I asked him, how much are those things? He goes, oh, the one with Jordan's $20, the other one's $10. And I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of want to see what's inside these things. He goes, all right, if you want to open them up, if you want them that bad, you can have them for half price. So I gave him $15 Canadian, so like $1.50 US. And I got these 2 packs of basketball hoops collectabooks.
I don't remember those. No, I have such a relationship with hoops, and particularly 89 hoops, because I remember being I grew up in northern Minnesota, and at our mall there was a drugstore in the mall that carried sports cards. And if you collected the 89 with the David Robinson rookie, they were in like a plastic wrapper that you could
Yeah.
see through. And so
Yeah.
you could see the front and the back card, and we would rifle through all the retail boxes to try to find whether it be like a Michael Jordan on top or a David Robinson on top.
Right. Well, this was neat because I don't remember these, but I certainly recognize the NBA Hoops brand. And so I bought these, and I think I'm going to open them at some point. They are sealed still. I went and kind of looked online to see, what they sell for. And he gave me a really good deal, but it was just,
Nice.
something fun. So we'll see. You kind of watch my Instagram. I'll probably open those up at some point and show what came in them. But okay, back to hockey. Let's say hello to who we have with us tonight. And first of all, you will see the Sports Cards Live affiliate link for Fanatics Collect is pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube. If you are bidding on anything tonight, please, to help support the channel, click on that link first and then go place your bids. That way you will help Sports Cards Live earn a very, I say very, but it's a small commission, but greatly appreciate every little bit does help. Kevin Hawthorne is here from Lakeland, Florida. What's up, Kevin? Jacob Dahl, good evening. We got Louis in the house, everybody. What's up? I can't say when Louis comes off my phone, it goes mother Louis. That's what comes off my phone. What's up, Jeff McMahon? Good evening to you. We got Michael here. He's Linda's first son. Hello and good evening to you. Kevin Hawthorne did my 4th news interview at the Citrus Connection bus terminal in Lakeland. I will be on WTSP Channel 10 News. This year is my 21st year working there. That's really neat, Kevin. Keep it going. David Archbell, what's going on, David? Shannick, good to see you. 2 cent. Jake Dahl, did you guys see the SGC 8 Vezina C55 for $125,000 on Fanatics Collect? Buy it now. I did not see that, but let's take a look at that, Josh. That sounds really cool. So here we go. Let's just go to screen share, and I'm going to open up not that one, the buy now marketplace, and let's do a search for Vezina C55. Let's see what comes up. Oh yeah, there it is. Let's have a look at this. So here we have, now this is an SGC 8, old school grade, old slab, but it is still an SGC 8. And it is very nice. Corners and edges look sharp as can be. Color, pretty good. Slight registration issue. I am seeing a bit of out of focus on the ears, the eyes, the neckline. And then, of course, the centering is definitely off and to the right. Would this cross to a PSA 8? I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that it would, but it does have the SGC 8, going for it right now. And anyway, it's definitely a nice copy of the card. Can't deny that. Laura, good evening. Welcome back. Junk Wax Museum. Where would one be able to obtain an SCL sweatshirt such as the one you are wearing? Well, I'm wearing a t-shirt. This is a t-shirt, just a t-shirt. And it's the only one I think I have it of like this. But yeah, I don't know. You know what? Let me refer you to the Hockey Cards Gongshow swag store, because they've done a really good job with their swag versus Sports Cards Live. I might need to ask Josh if he can put me in contact with his swag producers, because you can't really go out and buy an SCL shirt right now. But I appreciate the interest, Junk Wax Museum. Michael says, all my Panini swatch patch cards are of Sid from the years they had NHL license. That is great. Krutzer, what's going on? Krutzer, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Michael says to open them now, very aggressively. Turban Forcer, I miss the old hoops. I opened a lot as a kid. Yes, sir. Yellow and hello, Studio Sports. Dylan Rantucci in the house. Turban Forcer, that's very nice for a card as old as it is. Yes, it is, for sure. And happy Sunday to you as well, Kinger. All right. Josh, anything about tonight's auction you have to say, any preamble before we start looking at some cards?
My favorite set of all time, heavily featured in today's auction. So it's a fun one for me. Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you, but you can decide if you want to answer. Are you bidding on anything tonight, perhaps?
Maybe.
Okay. And you want no further discussion about what Josh might be dealing with tonight, what Josh might be bidding on? You want to leave that till the end?
There's one card that I've bid on, and I'm doing good about. I placed my bid. I'm focused on the show. If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't.
So your max bid is already into the system.
My max bid's already in.
All right. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's have a look at some cards, guys. We're going to start off with this top row. Not a lot going on in like the vintage realm tonight, but we do have a 57 Parker's Henri Richard rookie card in a BVG2, which I think is worthy of a look because this is a very popular vintage Hall of Fame rookie. And you know, this one, it's got its issues as you can see. The corners, especially top edge, looks pretty good, but definitely some staining. Top corners, all sorts of rounding and fray coming off of them. You see a crease coming in right over here. Surface, like print defect over there. You got a whatever that stain is right over there to the far left of his shoulder. Coming down, couple of scratches in the surface. You got some sort of something going on. I don't know what that is there. Maybe it's a little crusty. And then the bottom corner is the same as the top. Some serious wear, lots of fray, which I don't mind that. The edges overall not too bad. You got something going on off the edge of his skate here. So, you know, this is it's a really important card. But if you look at his face, it's actually pretty good. The picture of Henri himself is quite nice. But it's definitely a 2. Definitely a 2. I wouldn't say that this looks like I would actually say this probably looks like an above average 2. How much above average? If you know 50 is average, is this 55, 60th percentile or 45th, 40th percentile going on the other side? I'm not sure. But that's a decent copy of the Henri Richard rookie. Josh, so what did you think about when you saw this card?
Yeah, this one I'm very borderline on personally, just my sort of eye appeal tastes, call it. The corners, I think, are very similar to you in that when you get to cards of this age, corners don't bother me as much as long as they're uniform. And in this card, they're fairly uniform. The upper right is probably the worst, and you know the 2 right corners probably the worst. It's the centering piece, and it's the bottom bar that features his name, number, and position that trips me up the most on this. But I do agree with you for a 2. I think it's it has decent eye appeal, and it's that the fact that the photo or drawing or illustration of Henri doesn't have any creases or blemishes over it. That I think that's the most important aspect of this card as a BVG2.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Okay, let's move on. We have a 1979 Topps Wayne Gretzky rookie. I think this is the only Gretzky rookie in the auction. It is a BGS 6.5. Let's take a look at it here. Well, that's a little too small. Right away, the centering, as you can see, it is off and to the right. It is also sitting low on the card itself. The card is in the slab on a tilt, so we have to try to not let that fool us at all. Edges and corners, top right corner does have some white showing, but it's not that bad. The left and right edges are very nice. Bottom edge, very nice. Bottom right corner might be, less than perfect. A little bit of something going on there. And then, there might be a little bit of clockwise tilt, but not too bad. Color is good. Oil drop is pretty good, not perfect. Not a bad copy if you don't mind the centering on this BVG or BGS 6.5 Gretzky Topps rookie. Josh, any comments on it?
No, it seems like that it's within the range that you would expect, and it's just about finding the right one for you. And as I've learned primarily through you, I think this card is a hobby of its own.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And anytime you're considering buying a Gretzky rookie, especially for the first time, I think it's really important to do way more research than you've ever done on any other card.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It's because you have so many options. Okay, let's keep on going. 1995 Donruss Elite Cutting Edge Gretzky. This is numbered on the back out of 2,500, and this is a PSA 10. Now, I used to have this card in my collection. It was cut in a in a semi-recent, culling of my collection or going through seeing what I could live without. I no longer have this card, but I do like it and I miss it sometimes. It does feature him in the St. Louis Blues uniform, which is, pretty rare for playing days Gretzky cards. There weren't many of them. We're seeing it at $110. Josh, it's kind of funny. You've got that metallic sort of accent going through the background of the card. It looks like tire tread to me more than anything, though.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this card?
I've never seen it in hand. Is there any like refractor or color on it, or is it?
No, it is a little bit. It's actually a little bit dull on the front. No refractor that I recall, but I did like. I forget exactly what it looked like, but I did like the card. It had a metallic look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Personally, not a huge fan of the turtleneck era of Gretzky, but I can appreciate the card.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I'm just going to go check the population on it because it is from when he was playing, and it is from the 90s, which is always kind of nice. It's a PSA 10. That's nice. It's a pop 43. I mean, that's not too bad.
Pretty low.
Yeah, pretty low. Okay. I like the card. It's one of those cards where the only reason I moved is because I have lots of Gretzky's, and it just kind of was, just got moved. Okay, this next row is a fun row. We've got two Pinnacle Totally Certified Platinum cards on the bookends here. We've got the Platinum Red on the left, and we've got the Platinum Blue on the right. What's interesting is the serial numbers on this. The red on the left is out of 6,199. That is a big number, and also a big number, but only half as big on the right is the Platinum Blue out of 3,099. I don't know how many total parallels there are to this card, but there's a lot for 1997, including the Mirror Gold Platinum, which is numbered out of 30, I believe, and is like a very important Grail card for the year. And then right in the middle, we've got the Studio Hard Hats out of 300. I own a copy. This one has lasted with me. I still have my copy of this card. This is a PSA 10 here. I'm going to check the population on this one. So just to let everybody know, because, if you buy this card, you and me will be card bros or card, siblings if you are a female. And this one, or we could be bros still. It's pop 25 only. I didn't realize it was only a pop 25. I like this card. It's one of a couple die cut 90s Gretzky's that I have in my collection. I just like the card itself. Josh, your thoughts on these three?
Really cool. I did look up quickly if you want to do a little bit of a parallel breakdown.
Sure, go
on 97 Pinnacle Totally Certified. So these look like that they come from promo sets. There was the red are. What's interesting though is TCDB says out of 3,099. So yeah, I'm gonna take that back. It looks like there's something inaccurate on TCDB about that.
Yeah.
So
I think these are pack pulled cards versus sort of promos. But they're neat. They are nice looking cards. Now, they're not my favorite. I'm kind of somebody who doesn't like the aesthetic of these as much as many other people do. The gold platinum out of 30, I believe, is such an important card for 90s Gretzky's. I don't love the looks of it myself, but don't let that change anything in your opinion. I mean, that's just me. And I see so many people that love it. And I kind of wonder, is there something wrong with me? Why don't I like it as much as they do? I just don't. I don't dislike it. I just don't think it's as beautiful as some other people think that it is.
Well, and actually one quick thing I want to add to that in my little 30-second case study here is because I've actually been very interested in the past year. I sort of skipped out the whole Bedardapalooza thing and have been focusing on late 90s, early 2000s. It's really hard sometimes to find information about these sets. Like you can have a card you're interested in and kind of come up empty. And so, there seems to be like an information hole a little bit in that kind of 10-year block there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, couple comments. Ali talking about a Ron Francis game, he's patch in a Whalers jersey with a patch. Yeah, Ali, oftentimes the picture or the uniform the player is wearing on the card does not match up with the jersey that the company has. So But yeah, could be Carolina. Tough to say. Would need to see it. And Michael says that Studio Hard Hats is also acetate. No, it's not. It's not an acetate card. It is cardboard. I don't believe you can see through it myself there, Michael, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so. Neil says hard hats are so gimmicky, but I had to have them of Lindros and Gretzky. Yeah, hey, it's an idea, right? I'm with you. I had to have it too. Michael says Totally Certified wasn't its own release. It was a parallel of the regular Certified of that season, but with all the cards numbered. Yeah. So there you go. It's still pack pulled, but it wasn't its own release. Robin Taylor, Mockingy Mill. It was even hard to follow some of the 90 sets back when they were released. Yeah, no doubt. Oh,
actually, a little bit of a mystery solved on the Gretzky, the red one there, Jeremy. That was the base card. So I did find some information. The base were numbered back in.
Good to know. All right, next row. This is interesting. I don't know that I've seen this card before. It's torn out of a magazine. You can see the perforation. 2004 All Sports Magazine, Sidney Crosby. I don't know if that's a typo. I just noticed this right now. Is this a typo at PSA in the spelling of the word magazine? Look across the top. I don't think
probably
that's be an E, not an R. This is the gold version, apparently. Don't know anything about it. It says gold edition 1 of 200 on the card itself. It's just kind of a neat oddball Crosby card, a PSA 8 at $43 right now. And then we have the XRC of Alex Ovechkin from 2004 SP Authentic. These cards, you would open up SP Authentic, you would get a redemption card. You would then redeem it and receive this. And you'd say, well, why would you redeem for a card that doesn't have an autograph on it? Well, because they couldn't produce an Ovechkin card until he played. But this came out later on, but is from the 0405 SP Authentic. We know it was 0506 where his rookie card actually lives. So I consider this, I think we the hobby consider this to be an XRC. It's kind of a pre-rookie, but it does feature him with his team. It's a cool card. It's at a $399. This is a BGS 9.5. It's at $1,025. And right beside it is his Black Diamond base rookie, BGS 9.5. And I want to just look at the subgrades on that. All 9.5s except corners are a 9. It's at $675. And I feel like we've seen more and more of these over the past few months. And with Ovechkin, I mean, last night was very cool for Ovechkin. He became the second player of all time to score 20 goals in 20 consecutive years. Only Gordie Howe has done that. And I saw someone said, what about Ron Francis? I looked at Francis's stats. He did not do it. So it is Howe and Ovechkin. Josh, over to you on these three cards. Thoughts on Ovechkin's goal scoring prowess and longevity?
So would you consider the SP Authentic XRC the most significant XRC in the hockey hobby?
Oh, that's a big question to put me on the spot like that without knowing what else I'm choosing from. That said, nothing else comes to mind.
That's the same thing with me. Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that, but I actually do. I really like this card, and I do think it is significant. A lot of XRCs I'm very ho-hum about personally, but I think this one has a different distinction for me, and that's why I was asking the question. I'm also a really big fan of the Black Diamond Ovechkin rookie, and I almost bought one at the Expo at the National last summer, and I've been kicking myself ever since for not getting. That's when you know you really want a card, is 6 months later when you're mad at yourself that you didn't buy it.
Well, at this point now, I recommend you wait a year. Wait until
I will.
Yeah, or buy this one tonight if you want. Okay, more Ovies, guys. Like, this is the season of Ovechkin. He is close to breaking the record. It looks like it's inevitable he does it this year unless he gets hurt, regardless of what Phil has to say. I know Phil is sticking to what he thinks on the Gong Show, but listen, he'll be right if Ovechkin has a career or maybe even a season-ending injury. Let's cross our fingers that doesn't happen. I want to see him break the record. I think hockey wants to see him break the record. The hobby would like it. Even Gretzky is okay with it. So I think that's all pretty cool. And here we have his Hot Prospects RPA out of 199. And this is at $1,400. It's a BGS 9. This is an important card. It was always an important card, back in the day. And the only, like, it's kind of known as, or it was known as, like the little brother to the cup, mini cup in a way, because it was an auto patch RPA. Now a sticker auto versus on card, but you're still getting a nice patch. I mean, it's a small patch window. It's at $199, so it's not cup, but it's also not priced like the cup. And this one's at $1,400 right now. We have his SPX rookie at a $499. This is a jersey card with a sticker auto as well. And then you have his Upper Deck Ultimate Collection rookie auto. And this one is not numbered. It's a BGS 9.5, and it's at $1,150. So it's kind of neat looking at these three Ovechkins, Josh. And you know, they all have autographs. So we're not going to compare them to the two up in this row, but they're all right around the same price: $1,150, $1,300, and $1,400. Josh, if you could choose any of these for your collection and they were all going to cost the same price, which one would you select?
The Ultimate Auto.
Yeah, I think I would too, because it's on card. That's so important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all right.
I'm very, you know, again, going back to your show last night, but I don't know if it's you influencing me or I got here myself, but I'm really disinterested in memorabilia that's not game used.
Yeah, me too. But hey, as I learned last night and on Sports Cards Live, when we had Carvin Chung in the chat and we had Cage Lawyer on the show, a lot of people don't really care if the jersey that's embedded in a card is from a different player or was ever, you know, even in the same city or country, maybe even the same planet as the player pictured. I thought people cared about that more, but again, that might be where I'm just a little bit, maybe I'm old school or of a different generation. But to me, if there's memorabilia on a card that is meant to either be game used memorabilia or impersonate game used memorabilia, i.e. it's player worn, it's photo shoot, I'm okay with that. Let us know what it is, but at least it should have been worn by the player featured, not some other player. That's my position on it. Josh, any other thoughts on these three?
Well, I would just, maybe to put the final nail in here, I think I'd actually pay more for the Ultimate Auto than the other two. That's how much I like. I really like the card.
And I want to just see what the back of this one says. Does this say you've received an autographed jersey trading card from Upper Deck? On the front is an authentic piece of jersey worn by Ovechkin in a photo shoot. Okay, at least we know it was worn by Ovechkin. What about the Hot Prospects? This one says on the front of this card is an authentic piece of patch from a jersey worn by Ovechkin in a photo shoot. So probably the same photo shoot, but at least we know it was worn by Ovechkin and not some other player on that team. Or
fantastic job by Upper Deck, right? Telling us exactly what it is. Yeah.
All right, let's keep on rolling. Another Ovechkin rookie. This is the Artifacts rookie out of 750. It's a BGS 7.5. A BGS 9.5. I like the Artifacts rookies. I have a Crosby in my collection. I don't have an Ovechkin, but it would be nice to pair them together. And it's, you know, I like it because, you know, versus the Young Guns, which is the much more popular card, which is just, we don't know the print run. I like knowing print runs. It gives me some certainty. And so I like that card right there. Speaking of cards without print runs, we've got the Crosby Young Gun on the far right here, a PSA 8 for $675. And we've got the Beehive Crosby right here in a PSA 10 at $260. The Beehives are a bit of an acquired taste, I find. I don't mind them. Josh, how about you?
Not a Beehive fan. I do have a question for you on the Artifacts Ovechkin rookie. We've talked before about certain cards like the Ice Premiers that were a pretty big deal back in 2005 and have maybe faded in significance a little bit since then. Is that a similar story to this card? Like, was this a big deal card back in 2005 or not really?
It was the same as the Trilogy. And is there another one there? The Trilogy, the Artifacts. They were big. Oh, even the Black Diamond, you know, was important back then, but not numbered. And then you had the Artifacts and Trilogy, which is numbered. Trilogy out of $9.99. They were important back then, yes. You know, just like the Upper Deck Ice Premiers was important out of $99, even though now no one cares about Ice Premiers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I just want to Instagram. Aaron Johnson says, no love for hockey. No one in the live. We have 84 people with us on other platforms, not on Instagram. Aaron Johnson, if you're still there, coming over to YouTube, that is where the action is. There's a link in my bio to the YouTube feed. Michael says the Artifacts rookie was a redemption. They always are, I believe. They give you those you those little cards with the Roman numerals on them, and you can get them. I don't remember that specifically, but it certainly does sound familiar to me because I know they were after that year. Were they? And to Linda's first, were they redemptions as far back as 0506? I'm sure they were. I just want to confirm that. Josh, ready to next row right here where we're going to start to see some Fleer retro. But first, a second year Alexander Ovechkin Upper Deck Victory Gold PSA 10 Pop 6. I like second year cards, and not that the Victory is a really important one, but the Victory Gold is going to be more important. Pop 6 is cool. That's a nice low population. If you want if you want this card and you want it to be a Gem Mint, PSA Gem Mint card, that's kind of cool actually right there. I don't remember seeing this card before in any of its parallels. Or maybe there's only one or two. This is a pretty cool Ovechkin for me. I don't mind it at all. Josh, what do you think about a second year Victory Gold Ovechkin? And you might say not much. It's nothing to me, but I kind of wonder if you have any insights.
Is this one numbered? Because the year prior was out of 100.
No, I do not believe this is numbered, but let's see if I'm wrong by looking at the back. No, it's not numbered.
Okay. Yeah, because it was funny that this card came up a couple days ago. We just featured a record sale for the 05 Victory Gold that sold for $5,000.
Wow. Yeah. That was that the gold or the black? Victory Blacks, I believe, were out of 5. It was
Victory Gold out of 100, BGS 9.5. Sold on January 10th for $4,999 US. So, yeah, I mean, second year, big discount there.
Yeah.
And cool card. I do like second year cards, and I like the design of this card. So yeah, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Kinger right here says, love second year, the best low pop to buy. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't know because it's the best, but it's good. I think it's very strong. I do like that. Michael confirms that they were redemptions in 0506 Artifacts. Appreciate that. Turpin Enforcer wants to know, did Gretzky and Ovechkin ever dual sign a card? I can't think of one, but I have to think it's coming at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely coming. Louis loves the OV Victory Gold. Good stuff. Okay. Let's keep on rolling. We're going to get in some electrifying here, guys. Electrifyings are some of the most visually pleasant, appealing cards you'll ever see. I think they are just beautiful. And if you kind of look at the design, I just want to point out, because you might just look at it but not really look at what's going on here. First of all, you got all this cool gold effect in the background, and you got these white lines. These are lightning, and they all converge upon the puck that is on Bobby Orr's stick. Now, if you look at the Brett Hull over here, it's the same thing going on. There's the puck down on the left side on his stick, and all these white lightning flashes are converging upon the stick down there, and you got the beautiful gold cardstock in the background. Same thing with the Lindros. There it is. There's the puck, the Yager. We've got the Sakic. We've got the Lemieux, the Brodeur, the Matt Sundin. There's a few I didn't star, but let's look at prices right now and grade. So these bottom three, Sundin, Brodeur, and Lemieux, all PSA 10s. We have the populations available to us right here, courtesy of Fanatics Collect. The Sundin is a pop 4 only. The Brodeur is a pop 11. The Lemieux is a pop 13. Okay, pretty nice low pops. The Sakic, also PSA 10, pop 12. Yager, also PSA 10, pop 5. Lindros, also PSA 10, pop 7. And then finally, the Orr PSA 10, pop 8, and the Hull PSA 10, pop 6. There are some more on the next page because I know that there's also, I think I know there's a Gretzky and a Crosby in this auction too. Let's open up and go. Josh, I know you're gonna get a chance to talk about these because I know you love this stuff, and I do too. Patrick Waugh, PSA 10 pop 9, Pavel Bure, PSA 10 pop 5, Crosby, PSA 10 pop 10, and finally Gretzky, PSA 10 no pop available on the screen. So I'm going to go find that population. And while I'm doing that, Josh, why don't you tell us which one you're planning to buy tonight? Just kidding.
This is one of my favorite insert sets of, from one of my favorite sets. So obviously I love it. There's 20 players on the checklist. So a good part of them are represented today. The pack odds to hit one were 1 in 70. And I don't know how much, maybe you would know more than me, but I don't feel like a ton of Fleer Retro was produced in 2012. And maybe that's part of why the pop is so low. The other thing I really always found interesting, and I don't think I've ever talked to you about this or asked you this question, Jeremy, about the electrifying set, is one of the criticisms that we've had against Upper Deck over the last few years is that they've taken very popular cards and kind of run them into the ground. Like, there's all of a sudden there's like 6 Jambalayas in every Metal Universe release. They've never remade this card after, and I love that. But part of me is curious as to why, because these are so nice that it almost seems weird that they haven't. And again, I'm super happy that's the case. I don't know if you have a thought on that.
Well, first of all, I wonder if we should stop talking about this so we don't give them any ideas, because let's protect the sanctity of the electrifying. I don't know why they haven't continued to make other versions of it. Maybe they will. I believe electrifying is a Jean McLeod design, and now she's back under the fold at Upper Deck. Maybe she'll come out with another design for it, and I'm okay with one more time. They did it in 2012. It's the only time they've ever done it for hockey. The original electrifyings were in basketball. I forget the year, probably 97 or 1 year on either side of it. Maybe it's 98. They are gorgeous, and they did a wonderful job of them back this year in 2012. So, but to your question, no, I don't know the answer. And thank you, Kinger, who does let us know it is a pop 22, which I also found on my app, so I can concur. But no, Josh, I don't know. But just like you, I do know just how beautiful they are. I have a Gretzky, a Lemieux, a Crosby, and I think an Ovechkin in my collection. I believe mine are all tag graded. They grade very well. Also, as you can see, these are all 10s. They grade well. If you ever come across a raw copy, don't be afraid to take a look, hold it under the light, look for any print lines. Check out the corners and edges as you usually would, but really look at the surface for any scratches and print lines. And if you don't see any, I think it's a good card, a good candidate for grading.
Another idea, like I'm such a fan of what Upper Deck did with holotypes in Series 1 in a living set. To me, this would be a great candidate for a living set. And keep the 2012 guys. Don't make another Wayne Gretzky. Don't make another Sidney Crosby. But if you want to produce electrifying going forward, do every player once, and that's it.
I love that idea. I love that idea. Use this design. Let's get McDavid, Matthews. Let's get all the players we didn't see that weren't even around in 2012. You can get McKinnon, Marner, so many guys. Make this. I love that idea, Josh. Now, Upper Deck, if you are listening, Josh just gave you a great idea for another living set. I love that. Let's do a couple comments. Brett S. says, I think they need to do it for each generation of players, similar to Noise Boys this year. It's a set featuring McDavid. We were just saying that, Brett. We're all thinking the same way. LGC says 22,500 hobby boxes of 2012 Fleer Retro printed as per House of Card. No, sometimes people use print runs or pack odds or serial numbers to reverse engineer the actual production, and it's not ever going to be right. I just know that from talking to people at Upper Deck. It's not going to be far off, but it's not going to be exact because they're going to print extra. They just do for whatever reasons, if it's for damage replacement. So, but who knows? Maybe this one it is right. I shouldn't say it's never gonna be perfect on a really limited run product, maybe, and maybe this is limited enough, so maybe it is. I'll kind of retract that original comment. Josh, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't. Upper Deck is very close to the vest on that sort of stuff, and so I can. Yeah, I'd probably defer to your logic there. And since Brett brought up Noise Boys, one of the, he mentioned that they just released that in 2023-24 Metal Universe for the, for the updated generation of players. One of the things that I learned from G. McLeod, who designed Noise Boys as well back in the 90s, is the original Noise Boys are on very flexible substrate or whatever the card is made out of, and you can actually bend them in half and like touch the top and bottom edges, and they spring back. And then when Noise Boys were produced for this set, 2012 for retro, they were produced more on cardboard. Well, when she brought them back this year, they're bendy again. And I've always wanted somebody to take like the Bedard, pretty expensive card, and to have the guts to bend it in half and touch the edges and let it spring back to its normal shape. But apparently that's what they do.
Well, when I had Jean on my show on Sports Cards Live, probably 4 years ago now, she had a Noise Boys in her house where she was, and she did that with an original Noise Boys. So I've seen it happen. Yeah.
That's
she's
amazing.
Right. It does work. Michael says, I'll take one more electrifying set so I can get a Gretzky in his Oilers uniform. Yeah, you know what, Josh? I'm also willing to make an exception for one more Gretzky electrifying, putting him in an Oiler uniform. What about you, Josh? I mean, or would you be okay with that one exception? And that said, what about a Yager in a Penguins uniform? Because here he's on Dallas. I would be okay with that too. But
that's the slippery slope.
Is that a slippery slope thing? Is that a slippery slope thing?
I'm going to say no. I understand the desire to have a Gretzky in an Oilers uniform, but you start to make exceptions and then it goes, all over the place. And so I want to take a hardline stance on this one and say one card for one player. It is what it is. We can always wonder what a Gretzky in an Oilers uniform would have been, but we won't get it.
Yeah. Jay-Z says, I wonder if they haven't redone them because of production issues. They must be very difficult to produce. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I can't. I mean, my hunch says no, but that could be the reason as well. I just don't know. But let's move along. All right. Here's a card I love. The 2013 Fleer Showcase Ultra Platinum Medallion Wayne Gretzky. This is numbered out of 25, and I had to make sure that I had a copy already because otherwise I might have had to bid. But I have this card in a BGS 9.5 holder, and I just love these cards in hand, especially. Big fan of the card. And here you have the Oiler uniform, which is very nice to get when it comes to Gretzky. Nice younger picture of him, still captain, but early, I would think, in his captaincy. He looks pretty young here. It's a 2013 Fleer Showcase card, 25 copies only ever produced. Josh, how do you like this card? Do you like it? Have you seen them in hand?
Yeah, and they're a million times better.
They are.
And so we talk a lot about like categories of players that are underappreciated in the hobby, like Kucherov or Mikko Rantanen or Nathan McKinnon, maybe Pasternak to some point. I think there's a list of cards that I'm developing in my mind that kind of fit that realm too. There's a lot of what I would consider personally, and it's my opinion, way less significant Gretzky cards that sell for a lot more than this one does. And I think this is a very, very nice card and a really good buy.
Yeah,
at $430.
I'm a huge fan. $430 for what is, a gorgeous Gretzky Fleer Ultra Platinum Medallion. Like, platinum medallions there's some importance to the whole platinum medallion insert brand in sports cards. So I love it. I'll leave it at that. It's a great card. Good luck to anyone who's going to pursue that one tonight. I'll be very happy for the winner of that card. Michael's not happy, Josh, that we're not willing to go down that slippery slope and do another electrifying set so we can get Gretzky and the Oilers. But hey, we talked it through. You understand why. And Brett S says the 13-14 Nathan McKinnon Platinum Medallion rookie card is very high up on my wish list. Great card to have high up on your wish list. I have the Rubies, which is a beautiful card out of 50 from a Nate McKinnon rookie perspective, and I just love it. But that would be a great one to pair with it. Okay, 2015 Exquisite Collection endorsements, Connor McDavid. This is a rookie patch auto, numbered out of 50. It's in a BGS 9 holder with an autograph graded a 10. Let's take a look. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to be able to have a bit more, just a bit more control over looking at this card. And, not so concerned about the condition. It's a mint condition, 9 corners being the weakness at 8.5, but you have 9.5 centering. Card looks to be in good shape. This is, a logo patch from the Oilers. That's probably the E and the R, something like that. Autograph looks really, really good, but I want to see what it says about the patch. And it's here, I'll make it bigger, so hopefully some people who are not on their phones can see this as well. You have received event used. Okay, you have received a trading card with event used hockey memorabilia and an autograph of Connor McDavid. Now, that to me doesn't mean to me that the event used memorabilia is of Connor McDavid. It means that you have event used memorabilia and you also have a Connor McDavid autograph. Now, if they put a comma after memorabilia and the word of, then it would tell me that it was event used memorabilia of Connor McDavid. But the way this reads, Upper Deck would have an out legally from a liability perspective. If anyone were to say, well, wait a second, you're telling us this is Connor McDavid event worn memorabilia. No, they're not. That is not what this says, grammatically speaking. I don't believe. In any event, I'm willing to take that leap of faith in this case that it is Connor McDavid's event used memorabilia. Josh, any thoughts on that? I mean, just to bring it back to
that's the what surprises me too, and given that to some degree it's like legalese, right? It's the certification of just like how all over the place it's been over the last. It's like you would think like if I'm the general counsel at Upper Deck, I'm going to come up with something that I feel that can be very consistently applied over time and not change it. It's like it's the coordinator just writing whatever they feel like for every set. I don't know. It just seems like the more you look at these, the more different versions you see. The other thing that's really interesting to me about this card, and this is maybe like where I'm exposing some sort of still lack of understanding, is this card I'm assuming came out of the cup, and you have a true RPA at this would be a 70, 80 to 100,000. I'm a 2-color patch, probably $70,000, $80,000 card, and this out of 50, and it's $4,000. And I'm not trying to argue that this is as good of a card as his true RPA, but it seems like is this a low value at in your mind, or is this what? It just seems like
the hobby. This is the hobby. That's simple as that. The hobby puts so much value on the official RC. And to me, this is a rookie card. Like, it's a rookie year card, which to me is as significant. It's as good as a true RC to me. And I'm in the minority there. I'm okay with that. I think this is a savvy pickup. You could his true exquisite RPA out of 97 is beautiful. Much bigger patch. It's a nicer card overall. But this to me, if there's no orange in it in the patch, so that hurts it a little bit. But this is like it's just a really real economical way to get into a Connor McDavid exquisite RPA. And exquisite is the same level of importance as the cup. It really is. Like, the cup is based on exquisite. The cup is basically exquisite for hockey. That's really what it is. So this is actual exquisite. I think it's a great card for the money, comparatively speaking. Yeah.
Holy moly.
I do. Michael says RC matters more to most collectors. That's a true statement. It really does matter more. To me, it matters the most. Like I really value it as far as vintage goes, but in modern day, the RC label means nothing to me. Like for example, we were talking not long ago, Brett S mentioned the McKinnon Platinum Medallion RC. It's actually not an RC. It's a parallel of an RC, but to me, it's way better than the RC because it's out of 25.
Or OPG Platinum is a great example. The base card is worthless, but all the parallels none of the RCs have the value.
Right. So if price is the scoreboard, then, then Michael's comment here is not correct in those situations. Then what matters most is where the money goes, and that's going to be on the rarer card. But that doesn't apply across the board. And I think Michael's comment here is still true when he says when he uses the word most. Yeah.
For the cup, it is true. It's just inconsistent. It's just not consistently applied throughout every set. That's
exactly. All right. Let's go to Laura's comment. Have you had any experience with 99 2000 Power Deck pack, 3 cards per pack, 1 being digital? Just that I think it's junk, Laura. Those digital cards, they're like a little CD with the sides chopped off. My only experience is flipping right by them quickly when I'm going through boxes of cards. Timepiece Esquire, legalese. Maybe we should ask a lawyer. Ding dong. Did someone say they need a lawyer? As a lawyer, the only thing I can definitely say is Jeremy Lee for Justin Trudeau's replacement in 2025. Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, thank you for the vote of confidence there. And Ali says spot on. I think that's Upper Deck's out too. I've seen some patch cards that will say worn by the featured player, or cards that eventually name the player, but they don't for every card. Yeah, right on, Ali. I'm becoming a lot more vocal about this stuff lately. Okay, next row, we have 2 Connor McDavid rookie year cards. Not rookie cards, but rookie year cards. Ultimate Collection, Platinum, patch, Reebok tag, only 5 copies. This is a BGS 9.5, $1,000. And it's also like a tribute design to the 0506 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection rookie cards featuring Crosby and Ovechkin. This is a pop 2, none graded higher. This seems underpriced to me right now, Josh, considering there's only 5. It's rookie year. Let's see what the back says about this Reebok tag. And it says you've received a trading card with McDavid event used memorabilia. So Connor McDavid event used memorabilia. To me, that means it's his, that he actually, used it at an event in some way, a photo shoot, as having been used in a rookie photo shoot. So to me, this was worn by him in a photo shoot, and that's better than, we don't know who wore this or where they got it.
Can I ask you a question about this? So let's say there's a card you're really super interested in. And now are you at the point with patches where you're going to for sure read the back? And if it's one of the more ambiguous, certifications, is that going to give you pause in acquiring that card at this point or no?
I've been reading the backs of cards for years now. I don't want anything photo shoot or event used. So I don't have any photo shoot or event used cards in my personal collection. Everything I have says game used. So I'll start there. I know. So let me just start with that. Now let's go to the next level, which is, what does it say? Like that example before where I said, if you put a comma here and here, that would connect the first phrase in the sentence to the last phrase in the sentence, while it would also connect the second phrase in the sentence to the last phrase in the sentence. The first being mem, the second being auto, and the third being the player. Connect the memorabilia to the player and the auto to the player using commas in their right place for grammar. I'm good. Take those commas out. I pause, but I take a leap of faith. That's where I'm willing to take that risk and still add cards like that to my collection. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That answered your question, right?
No, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Timepiece says Ukraine is being led by a former comedian, USA by a real estate investor. Who says you can't lead Canada, Jeremy, as long as you promise no taxes when shipping hockey cards between USA and Canada? Vote. Okay. That will be my platform if I run Timepiece for sure. Okay. Next up is the Connor McDavid Enshrinements rookie auto PSA 10 Pop 1, $5,000. Now we know our good friend Mark from my card post recently spent like over $2,000 on the Pasternak rookie Enshrinements jersey numbered 88 of 99 Pasternak. This is the McDavid. I only bring that up because these cards get some love from certain collectors, and they are beautiful. This card is beautiful, in my opinion. No patch, but you have an on-card auto of Connor McDavid. Rookie year, we're at $5,000, which is $6,000 with the buyer's premium. Josh, and is this out of 99? Or is this not even
I don't
numbered?
think it's numbered.
It's not even numbered back in 2015. Like Pasternak's year was earlier, right? 2013 or 14, and it was
is 99. Numbered. It's 55 out of 99.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Josh. You saw it. It is 55 and 99 right there. Just didn't include it in the description in the auction. Your thoughts on this one, Josh? I really like it.
I'm a fan of this card too. And actually, the price of this just made me think of the exquisite RPA. And now I really feel like at $4,000, I don't know what maybe it's gone up a little bit, but that's a pretty good value because, this is a rookie auto, a very nice one, but comparing it to a rookie patch auto.
$4,000, right? $4,000 for the exquisite RPA out of 50 on card auto, $5,000 for the enshrinements out of 99, no patch on card auto. Are enshrinements better than an exquisite? I don't think so. I think the exquisite's the better card. I'm glad you made. The other thing is that this is a PSA 10.
Sure.
This is a BGS 9. To me, that shouldn't matter at this point on these cards. These cards are about more than condition. They're both at least mint, which is very strong still. I think this card should sell for more than this one, Josh. Maybe by the end of the night it will. We go into. We're in extended bidding right now, guys. So this card needs a bid in the next 5 minutes and 15 seconds, being the exquisite, or else it will end for $4,800 with the buyer's premium. Where these all need bids still to get into the next window. So we're going to find out here in 5 minutes which of these cards are selling at their current prices. We can see the Gretzky Platinum Medallion is already it's going to go into the next window, which starts in just under 5 minutes and lasts for 5 minutes. And same with the electrifying Wayne Gretzky. Okay, Tage Thompson, SP Authentic Future Watch Auto PSA 10 coming in here at $170 right now. And Thompson's having what looks to be, he's picked up his production, I feel like, just watching fantasy and all that in the last few weeks. Josh, has he appeared on the struggle bus at all, or on the Who's Hot segment of the Gong Show in the last month or two?
No, and actually, in advance of this card coming up, I was looking up his stats too. He is having a decent start to the year. I just wonder if that team is such a mess that everyone's kind of getting lost in the sauce. And I can't imagine what I'd be feeling right now if I was a Buffalo fan. They got to be so frustrated.
So frustrated. Yeah, totally agree with you there. Okay, well, let's keep on rolling. Peter Bondra was such a dynamic player, so much fun to watch, a great goal scorer. Him and Michael Pivonka were like I always think about Bondra, Pivonka, Prop, and Kerr. These are the combinations that I remember in the mid 80s being, early 90s for Bondra and Pivonka. And anyway, this is the NHL Glory from the Cup. It's out of 10. You got this big metal NHL shield embedded in the card. They're beautiful cards. It's like we talk about memorabilia where it's from. Like, this is just a hunk of silver put in there. There's no connection to any game, but that's okay. This is one of, in my opinion, the coolest, most innovative design elements that they have added to a card that is not just like an ink design on cardboard. We talk about manufactured patches, which I have no problem with manufactured patches. They're not pretending to be something that they're not. This, you think, well, it's pretending to be the NHL shield. Well, is it really? It's metal. We don't have metal NHL shields. So there's that one step away there. But in any event, I think these are cool cards. I've owned one before. I used to own a Jeremy Roenick. I don't own any of these right now. They're very heavy, on-card auto. And again, Peter Bondra is just a player that doesn't have a lot of cards. So when there's a cool card of his, the Slovakian collectors especially come out of the woodwork and bid. So we'll see what happens here on this. I'm surprised it's at only $110 considering it's out of 10, only 10 copies produced. But Josh, any thoughts on the Glory cards or Peter Bondra?
Everything you said is so right, but I'm such an and it's not a manufactured patch. You're right. I guess I don't like anything on a card that isn't related to that player. And but I totally get why someone that I'm probably very much in the minority and 100% understand why people would appreciate and value these cards. And
So I have to ask something. I have to ask one thing. I just want to challenge you. I want to softly challenge you here because
yeah, go ahead.
It's if the way I got around what you are challenged by is thinking of it as a design element. So let's look at jambalayas. Jambalaya has nothing to do with any hockey player ever, never mind a basketball player. Let's think about the electrifyings, lightning. There's no lightning in hockey. It's a design element. That's how I get around things like manufactured pat. Think about the in Upper Deck the Cup. Oh, there's like been 3 years where they take I forget what they're called, like where they take the team logo, and I have a Solani and I have a Solani. What do they call, like in anybody know the name of that? Inked insignias, I think they're called.
Insignias, yeah.
Now, those are manufactured patches, but they're a beautiful design element. They're not pretending to be the full logo because they're too small. They're not stitched either, but they're really, really nice. Nothing to do with the player except it represents the player's team. Same thing with like Pride of a Nation from Upper Deck Black in the late 2000s. Nothing to do with the player, but a representation of their country's flag. So I'm not like challenging you here, Josh. I'm just wondering, does looking at it that way as simply a design element help get you over it? Or are you just like, nope, I'm a traditionalist. I want my cards to be simple. If it's not a game used, worn piece of memorabilia or a piece of stick that they held in their hands and played with in a game, I don't want it. And if that's the case, Josh, I'm okay with it. Trilogy pucks are the same thing, not game used. So back to you. I'm really curious on your thoughts now that I've kind of set that context.
I think I agree with 100% of what you're saying, and personally can't stand any of it. So there's nothing that you're saying is wrong. And that's, to me, that's the beauty of collecting, right? Is that as a collector, I get to be subjectively irrational.
Yes, you do. I love that. Yes, you do. Subjective irrationalism. I love that.
And that's I can't stand the glory shields, and I can't argue against any point you made, and I can 100% understand why people like them. And I think, like, on this card specifically, to me, what it boils down to is it's sort of like, like this sort of like the window that shield is in hockey cards, that's a tip, with the exception of this one card, a jersey shield. And so kind of it creates that initial impression of something that this card is not. Like, I wonder how many new collectors, when they see like an eBay listing and they're starting to understand like what a shield or a shield auto card is, they see this and they assume that it's closer to a jersey shield and not a piece of metal.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand what glory shield means.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, maybe some people.
I actually really appreciate Fanatics Collect putting metal in the description.
Metal. Yeah. Glory metal for sure. Okay, let's keep going. 2020 clear-cut rookie tribute McDavid. Looks like the cup, $1,050 it sold for. We had a Metal Universe Retros Ovechkin PSA 8 sold for a whopping $12. $10. I starred this one here, this Connor Bedard 23 Metal Universe, because I never heard of this insert set. It's called 9.461 EKM.
Speed of light.
Josh, what?
Speed of light.
Speed of light. 9.461 to the power of E kilometers per hour.
Or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Or minute.
That's interesting. Has nothing to do with hockey, but okay. Okay. That's not a credit. I love these jambalayas, electrifyings, essential credentials. Like, none of it has to do with the sport, but it's just cool. I like that stuff. And I know you do too. Here's a jambalaya, Connor McDavid from 2023 Metal Universe. I like the design on these. This is a Gene McLeod design. PSA 10 Pop 1 sold for $660. And a Metal Universe Vivacity Sidney Crosby PSA 10 sold for $43. We have some raves, some Z-Force raves. We have the Bedard. This is the regular Z-Force, and then we have the Z-Force Rave Bedard. So you have the regular Z-Force or the Rave version. The regular PSA 10 sold for $145 pop 3, and the Raven a 9 sold for $80. Oh no, these haven't sold. These are still going. My bad. They're still going. And then we have the Peachy Platinum Retro Bedard Rookie PSA 10 is at $185. Josh, what do you think? Like these 3 cards, even though they're, the 2 are from Metal Universe, 1's from Platinum, they could all be from the same set with all these color waves going in different directions. How do you feel about these designs?
I'm really interested in the Super Rave, the one out of 50. That's the parallel not pictured here. I don't have any, but they're hard to find. And actually, I wanted to make a comment really quick on the McDavid Jambalaya. I'm a big fan of the 2023 design as well. And this is just totally anecdotal. And maybe somebody in the chat could chime in too. I've been trying to find a Kaprizov because I want one. You can't find them for sale anywhere. It's like part of me wonders if a lot of metal just hasn't been opened, or if they're maybe a little more rarer than we thought that they would be. But it's been odd to me how few that it's been really, because they're tough chases, but they're not like, there's enough of them typically around where you can always find one if you want one. And I think in the past month I found one for sale, something like of Kaprizov only. So I don't know if anyone knows about that, but I found that interesting.
Well, if you see one, let Josh know. More Bedards now. We have the Ingrained Shots Relics. This is numbered out of 99, and it's at $700. It has I'm going to call it an on-card autograph only because this piece of memorabilia, I don't believe it is game used, but the card so you've received
manufactured
a manufactured carbon fiber hockey stick insert autographed by Bedard. Well, every carbon fiber hockey stick is manufactured. This one just wasn't manufactured, then sent to the Chicago Blackhawks for Connor Bedard to use, I guess. This is a weird wording.
I know the story here is that it's little carbon fiber pieces that were specifically manufactured for this card. So every player has the same carbon fiber piece.
Okay. Thank you. That makes sense. So to me, it's not an on-card auto. It's not a sticker auto. It's an on-mem auto. It's like a scripted swatches, but where the swatch wasn't used for anything except the production of the card. So it's to me, it's still like an on-card auto, which I think is good, despite the fact that the stick is a design element. Josh, how do you feel about this card, considering that stick wasn't used does that fall into the glories and those sorts of things?
Kind of, but actually, I wanted you to check out the back of this card because I think, if I remember correct, that there's something else really interesting about this too. Okay, so this is not the case. So in some of these cards, so you remember Ingrained is a 2024-25 set. It was 23-24, but it was a dual rookie.
Right.
Right. And included the 2022 cards. So a lot of the 2022 rookies. So like, let's say this was Wyatt Johnston, right?
Mm-hmm.
The back of the card says 2023 Ingrained, and it's got a Wyatt Johnson auto that says rookie signature shots. And there's nothing, the card is from the year later, but it says it's a rookie auto.
Yeah.
Ingrained got really weird this year on some of this stuff, but given Bedard's rookie years 2023-24, you don't have that issue on this particular card.
Now, are we seeing a bit of a rebound on his PSA 10 Young Gun, which sold tonight for $660? I think we saw some down in the fives. He is been scoring points again. Are we seeing, Josh, a bit of an uptick on his Young Gun values? Like, because it was just down from March until really a week or two. Well, the last time we did a show, which I believe was on December the 22nd. We did an episode, and this is our first episode in 3 weeks here. And I feel like this one is going up a little bit or trending upwards. Am I right, Josh? Have you seen the data?
Yeah, I think there is, their last game yesterday, he was held pointless. But prior to that, he had a 9-game point streak. And that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. It's nice to see on such a bad team too. So, all right, that brings us to the bottom of the cards we're watching. I'm going to hit refresh on this page and let's see. Oh, that didn't work. We'll hit refresh. Okay, no, I think I messed that up. Let's see what is sold. So the Sundin did 144. The Brodeur did 348. The Sakic 168, Yager 348, Lindros 156, Brett Hull 162, Bobby Orr 372. The second year victory gold Ovechkin did 198, 870 on the PSA 8 Crosby Young Guns, 312 on the Crosby Beehive, 660 on the Ovechkin Artifacts. The ultimate rookie auto Ovechkin is still going at $1,250, $1,830 for the SPX, and 1680 for the Hot Prospects. Those are sold prices for the Ovechkins. Black Diamond 95 does $870. The 04 SPA Redemption does $1,230. The Crosby Magazine card does $56. $84 for the Hard Hats Gretzky PSA 10. $84 for the Totally Certified Platinum Red. $96 for the Blue. $162 for the Cutting Edge out of Donruss Elite. $300 for the Henri Richard rookie card. That seems pretty cheap. And $11.50 and going for the Gretzky 1979 Topps BGS 6.5. So those are sold prices. I wonder if I can't even back this up and see, unless I go to sold, is that going to help? Not really. This is if we go sold and in extended. Not in my watch list. Okay, tough to do. So we're going to go back to this page now. We're going to refresh and let's see what is left. Okay, so the Gretzky rookie is still going. The Ovechkin Ultimate Auto. The Lemieux Electrifying's at $5.25. The Gretzky Ultra Platinum Medallion is at $650 and going. Oh, it might have just sold, and it did for $780. As did the Gretzky Topps rookie, does $1,380. The Lemieux Electrifying final sale at $630. The Tage Thompson is still going at $185. Bonder's up to $170. And the Bedard Ingrained sells for $840. I'm going to hit refresh one more time, guys. And we are down to these three cards out of the ones we were watching. Josh, I'm going to go to comments. There's only two here. Michael says, I think Upper Deck got the idea of NHL Glory from Panini's Buried Treasures, which were silver Stanley Cup embedded cards. You have Michael has a Crosby, though the unautoed version. They may have actually got the idea that way. Yeah, that's definitely possible. And then it comes down to the silver they use. You know, Upper Deck and the Cup, Josh, they did those silver versions of the Cup RPAs. Yeah. And don't buy those cards, guys, because that silver tarnishes so easily. It tarnishes in time and they just become ugly. I say this because the Buried Treasures cards that Linda's first mentions here, I recently had the whole set of them autographed. I bought the whole set complete from a friend. I don't own them anymore. Sold the last ones in, I think, October of this year, and they did not tarnish at all. The color stayed good, but they were also sealed. You couldn't touch the silver. It was behind acetate. It was, completely encapsulated within the card. And I wonder if that lack of oxygen helped the silver not change color. Whereas these Cup cards I'm talking about, not the Glory, but these Cup silver, RPA things, the silver changes on them. Same thing happened with Panini Dominion used to put out, I forget what they're called right now, but they had the nameplate of the player's name as it would have appeared if it was on the Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. And those do not last either. So I wonder about these NHL Glories. I've never seen one of these NHL Glories change color, which is a good thing. But it also makes me wonder, is it a different silver, a lower quality silver? Is it actually silver? Is it some other metal? I don't know. I don't really care as long as they look good. I just said a lot there, Josh. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, really cool. Yeah, I don't have any experience with those. I've only seen a couple of them in hand, the ones that have the actual silver, and I just remember how they're kind of heavy, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll go back to comments. Kreutzer says Bedard has been way more effective since they changed the coach. That's great great to hear. Timepiece says, I, for one, am saving all my dollars in anticipation of the release of some decent Macklin Celebrini cards. Really hope Upper Deck doesn't mess this up. We don't need 100 variations. Oh, you won't get 100, Timepiece. Don't worry. It'll be at least 200. Robin Taylor says, that Richard was a steal at $300. I think it was a steal too, Robin. Shannock says, Josh, did you win the card you were bidding on?
No.
What?
I was bidding on the WA electrifying.
Yeah.
And all the prices were pretty strong tonight for. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they were, because I think part of it has to do with they were all together in one auction, so people could pick off a bunch of them. Timepiece also says Bedard's play after the coaching change reminds me of Caulfield after the Habs hired a new coach who understood the genius of this young player and let him spread his wings. You're talking about Martin St. Louis, a very similar player to Caulfield. So I think you're probably bang on that, Timepiece. And Linda's first says, wow, those autoed versions are like a number to like 5. Yes, they are. They're 5, and the Messier, the Yzerman, the Howe, and the Crosby are numbered to 5 in those buried treasures. The rest of them are numbered to 10. And yeah, I think it's a 28 card set. And yeah, I had the whole complete set, and I, again, sold them all. I think I sold the last one. It took about 2 years to sell them all between all the card show I was doing, but I did sell them. I decided not to keep them for myself. It was an expensive set for sure. The professor picked up a Hockey Cards Gongshow discussed card, the 1999 Upper Deck holographics Wayne Gretzky, number GG1. Congratulations, Professor. Always nice to pick up cards that you can go back and watch the podcast that it was discussed in. I think that's really cool. Guys, before we talk more about that, let's have a look. We are down to 5 seconds here, and the Tage Thompson needs a bid to go into the next window. Looks like it's not going to get it. This one will be sold here, I believe, for $222, while the Ovechkin auto continues to go. We're at $1,350, and the Bondra got bid up to $175 and lives on here as well. Timepiece Esquire says, I make these observations with the hopes of impressing all you Canadians that there are serious hockey fans here in Los Angeles as well. Speaking of Los Angeles, just want to wish everybody down there all the best with the fires going on. And Timepiece, I hope you're okay, your family, your friends. I'm sure some of them aren't. And, my heart goes out. I'm sure I speak on behalf of Josh and the Gong Show, certainly speak on behalf of SCL and our community here, wishing everybody in Los Angeles, not only from those affected by the fires on the houses and the buildings, the structures, but breathing that air right now. I cannot imagine. So thinking about you guys down in Los Angeles and just hoping for the best for all of you. Professor says, I am pivoting with the influencers. Bought a Charizard TCG card tonight, second one in 20 years. Good for you. As I told you by DM, Professor, personally, I just have no interest in Pokemon cards. I never was into them as a kid. I was buying sports cards as a kid, hockey, baseball, basketball, football, all of them. And I can't get that out of my system here, 40 something years later. If I grew up in the world of Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm sure I would be in that space. If I was born 20 years later, I think I would be in that space, Josh, not the sports
100%.
card space. But I am where I am, and I love it.
I think it's good for collecting as a whole, right? The more people that see the value and fun in collecting, the better. And so to see, I think it's a good thing to see people flocking to shows for Pokemon, because if someone that's huge into Pokemon and you're a hockey fan, that might give you the idea to try collecting hockey. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I don't look down on collecting Pokemon whatsoever. I just don't do it and don't have the interest. But I respect the and let's face it, I go to local shows, I go to big shows. The Pokemon tables are the busiest ones at the shows, bigger than the sports card tables. There's more people looking into those showcases, just the way it is. That's okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that those people have an interest in it. Like those people being, and there is crossover. There is authentic crossover, and I think that's wonderful too. I tried, like back about 4 years ago, I did a couple shows covering the Pokemon. I brought in some Pokemon experts. We talked about it. I went out and bought some Pokemon cards. My buddy Stamatis wraparound cards on Instagram. He authentically collects Pokemon and sport and hockey because he grew up on both. And I used to ask him, like, what's good, and teach me who's Umbreon and who's this and that. And he would give me all the time in the world. And I went and I bought a few cards. And then I realized I only bought them for investment purposes. I did not buy them to collect them because they do not resonate with me. But then I sold them because they didn't resonate with me. I don't own a single Pokemon card right now. I do have an unopened pack that was gifted to me back in the day that happens to be worth $400. Pretty darn cool, but that's it. Josh, any more comments on the whole Pokemon thing, or just the
I just agree with you. I think that we have no connection to it from our past, and that's a big part of collecting is nostalgia. That's why I love my Fedorov Young Guns from 1990 Upper Deck, and I was in college when the whole Pokemon thing started, and where my brother is 8 years younger is much more, that was in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. There you go. It's a generational sort of thing. LGC says the Glaceon VMAX Pokemon card wears skates. Great. That's great. Can I watch him playing for the NHL team? I'm just kidding. That's cool. That is really cool. Not enough for me to be interested in buying one, but hey, it's cool. I think that. Listen, I do look at Pokemon cards, and my eye is like, wow, that's a cool looking card. But there's lots of cool things out there that I just are not for me. So anyway, that's it. Nothing against it whatsoever. The professor has lost on all the Fleer electrifying cards tonight. Sorry to hear, Professor, but there are raw copies out there. There will be more and more of them out there as well. Brett S pipes in and says, Jeremy, I'm starting to feel that way about collecting. The cards need to resonate and invoke something, whether it be the aesthetics, nostalgia, or just a player. Yeah, Brett, but take it a step further. I think it's a step further for me. It needs to invoke, because you say aesthetics, nostalgia, or a player. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But for me, I need like at least two of them, because just the player doesn't do it for me. Like, the player on any card, I love team. Today at the card show, somebody said to me, "Do you have this Solani card?" And I'm like, "No, I don't have that Solani card." He goes, "Aren't you the king of Solani collectors? Don't you have like every Solani card ever made?" I'm like, "No, bro, I got like 20 Solani cards, maybe 25. I don't want them all. I want ones that are special to me, right?" Mm-hmm. So I like your comment, Brett, and I ask back to you, Brett. Does the cards need to resonate and invoke something, whether it be aesthetics, nostalgia, or just a player? Would you think about it a bit more and say, yeah, Jeremy, two of them. It needs to invoke two, the player and aesthetics, or the player and nostalgia for like Josh, Fedorov and Young Guns. Like it's aesthetics, it's nostalgia, and the player for Josh. It's all three of them. That's really the best situation. Josh, do you have any kind of, comment on that way of thinking?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's that the cards connect us to the game or our youth, or they're, and that's where I think like that's how they become meaningful to you, other than as a collector, right? And there's a lot of people that have hobbied to as an invest, and at that point it's just whether it goes up or down. But I think that they're like, I never, and that's like music is the same way for a lot of people. There's a lot of other things in life like this. Like, I can't look at a 90 Fedorov Young Guns and not automatically go back to, it's kind of magical in a way. It takes you instantly back to a time, and there's something that's just, like I said, magical about that. And that's part of what attracts me. Like, I still get that feeling even 30 years later looking at that card every time.
Yeah. I think that's that nostalgia, right? Like, yeah, for sure. Okay, let's keep going. Timepiece says, where has the great American gift to hockey been the past few weeks? Austin Matthews. So I went and I just looked at the last few games. So they played Vancouver yesterday and they got shut out 3-0 at home. Terrible game. But the game before that, where Toronto played against Carolina and they lost 6-3, Matthews did score, but he was a -6. Oh. How are you a -6 in a 6-3 loss where you also score a goal. Is that wrong? Like, is the Sportsnet app giving me this stat wrong? It's telling me Marner was a -6, Matthews was a -6, and Matthew Knies was a -5. Like, I've never seen a -6 before in a game, ever.
It's a bad game. Yeah.
He scored a goal, though, and really plus minus doesn't really stick with a player that much. The game before that for Austin Matthews took place on January the 7th. They beat the Flyers 3-2, and Matthews had 1 assist, a goal, and an assist. So in his last 3 games, he's got 2 goals and an assist. That's not too bad. Oh, a power play. His goals on the power. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Of course. Yeah, power play doesn't count towards plus. Yeah, I knew that, guys. Thank you for pointing out the obvious. Makes a lot of sense right there. Marner was also -6. Yes. That's right, David and Mike. Brett S. says player and aesthetics mainly, but seeing Forsberg in his Nordiques uniform on the all-time future watch seems to tick all 3. Yeah, that'll make it that much better for you for sure. Right on. Okay. So what's going on? We're down. So the Bondra sells for $210, the Thompson for $222, and we are down to just the Ovechkin Ultimate Autograph Rookie Year card. It's at $1,450, and it's going to go into the final 5-minute window, which is going to start here in 30 seconds. And then when that one's over, we're at the top of the hour, and then we get into the 1-minute extended bidding windows. And Kreutzer also says about Matthews, before his last game, he was on an 8-game point streak, 12 points in that span. That's pretty good. Timepiece says on that note, is Matthews a buy, a seller, a hold? I had this conversation today with a potential with somebody at the monthly card show, and my advice was as follows, without trying to tell them what to do. And I said, listen, I don't want to give you bad advice, because if he goes on and wins the cup, has a great playoff run, then the time to sell would be April, middle to the end of April, when they're in the playoffs and they're up 2-0 in that first round and Expo is upon us. That's a better time to sell. I think times to sell are always when a player's hot, but you always have to consider, he's been injured a couple times this year. That's not a great time to sell. So he's playing well right now, despite, a -6 game followed by being shut out 3-0. So I don't know. I don't like giving that type of advice, timepiece, too much. Sometimes I'll tell you what I think a good time to buy is. Giving selling advice is tough to do because you just never know in season what is coming in the next run of games. But Josh, do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, as it comes to Matthews, I mean, he's super hurt. Even when he came back, didn't Craig Berube kind of uncharacteristically say he's not going to be right for a while? And here's I totally agree with you. I think that the hobby is so far out of the buy, sell, hold kind of where you really couldn't predict then, but I don't think there's any chance to predict now. Ovi may be the one guy because you have this huge monumental record that you're on the doorstep of. But here's what would concern me about Austin Matthews if I was worried about the financial side of his hobby. He has 14 goals. We're more than halfway through the season, and he's hurt. This could be his lowest goal total ever in his career this year. It's actually looking like it will be. Unless his knee gets feels really good and he goes on an absolute tear. He's never had less than 34 goals in a year, and at this point it might be tough for him to hit 30.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and he's not in peak shape for this year, health wise and that. So, but he's still playing okay. He's come back. Didn't he start? Wasn't he out for the beginning of the season or something? I feel like he didn't even.
He's played 29 games, and most teams have played 42, 43 games.
44 for the Leafs. 44. Yeah, so he's missed.
What's that? He's missed the third of the games already.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Timepiece, this is great. Timepiece is laughing his head off, says, did you hear what you just said, Jeremy? You started off your sentence with, if the Leafs win the cup. Yeah, Timepiece, I don't know what I was talking about there. that's comment of the night right now, because you are bang on with that comment. I can't believe I said that. That said, I'm not a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I've been known to chant Leafs suck in the past. But I put the hobby ahead of everything. I'm one of these guys that I put the hobby ahead of even my own being a fan. Unless it's my team in the Stanley Cup final, I'm going to hope for my team regardless of any hobby holdings I have or the industry itself. And I think the Leafs winning the cup would be good for the hobby and good for hockey. Not good for the rest of Canada, because the rest of Canada pretty much hates the Leafs unless you're from Toronto. But yeah, that's hilarious timepiece. And that's the kind of comment that me and my buddies make a lot. Like, I got one guy whose like social media name is Leafs suck, but backwards. That's like what he goes by in social media. Or it's pretty funny. Let's see what Shannon here said. Oh wait, first Linda says Matthews is the type of rare goal scorer who can rip off 25 goals in 30 games. Yeah, he could. And Shannon says Crosby has seasons of 8 and 15 goals, so injuries occur and great players rebound. Yeah, great call right there. They certainly do. I think Austin Matthews could. The other risks with the investing in Austin Matthews are, well, again, just like any player, serious injury, but with him being traded, like he cannot be traded to a bigger market. So that's against him, right? He can be traded to a smaller market. I don't know if he would be, like, even the only place he could get traded to that would do his cards better would be the Montreal Canadiens. That's it. Anywhere else, I think his cards I think they go down in value to any other original 6 team or any other team. Maybe Edmonton would be the exception if he somehow was paired up with McDavid over there. But those are just my thoughts. Josh, anything to say about this comment?
Oh yeah, I mean, totally. It's not saying that Matthews is having a bad year is nothing about him as an overall player or his talent. He's been very hurt, and when you can't, when your knee hurts, it's tough to be a world-class athlete. So I think there's a very rational explanation for it. But again, going back to the original question, is this the time to sell Matthews? Based on that, my gut feeling would be no. That I'd be, I think you had said, typically we want to sell at a high point when a player is, producing well. And like, if he scores 26 goals this year and is hurt, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he comes back with healthy and 70 the year after.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. So hello to Dave Kaplan. What's going on, buddy? Timepiece says my first ever Kings game as a young pup. Marty McSorley got in 3 fights against the Leafs, got a game misconduct, missed those enforcer days. Any rare/cool enforcer cards in your collection? Well, no, but there's one card that I do want to get one day, and I'm going to bring it into your viewer. I'm going to bring it over here right now. It's this one right here. If you can see, it's the 1973 O-Pee-Chee Phil Roberto card. Now, can I make it a bit bigger? There we go. This is Phil Roberto, guys, and he is reaching over the linesman to punch this member of the New York Rangers, I believe. There's another referee in here. We don't see cards like this anymore, but this is my favorite vintage card that features a fight on the ice. And the NHL will not allow this to be on a card anymore. So that's pretty cool. But before we go anywhere else, the Ovechkin rookie ultimate auto sells for $1,920, I believe, outselling the other Ovechkins we were watching tonight, Josh. So the hobby agrees with both of us that was the best of those 3, being the SPX and the hot prospects. Kendall Fahey says, any concern for long-term McDavid auto value given him how much he signs? I mean, not really. Yes and no. The appetite is there while he's playing, but the question does say long-term. So if long-term is after he retires and the hobby's on to the next generational player, whoever that may be, the hobby is going to move on from all the McDavid cards eventually, not completely, but they are going to move on somewhat and put their dollars elsewhere. And I can see them, not holding out, not the important ones. I think will maintain, like the important rookie year autos, the future watches, the cup RPAs, and maybe a few others. But that's a tough question, Josh. What do you think?
Well, I have two thoughts. That it is a great question, Kendall. The first is he has to win a Stanley Cup. That's the most important thing long term for the value of any of his cards, I believe.
Yeah.
And then secondly, and Jeremy, you just kind of mentioned it, but I'll expand on it. I feel really strongly, I call this in like the junk variety era. And so the right McDavid autos will last a long time. So if there's a on-card ultimate or on-card cup auto or SP, a sign of the times, to me, those are better bets than a synergy sticker auto.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Timepiece says, how many of us have as many McDavid autos as we want? I mean, I still see them and look at them like, boy, I'd like to buy that one too. He says, I'd love to have another 20 or 30. And I'm starting to think like, I used to hoard my Dale Hawerchuk cards from the Cup and other cards. And it's like, do I need 150 Dale Hawerchuk autographs in my collection? I really don't. I don't have enough love to give cards to love 150 of the same autograph. So I've scaled back over time, letting them go slowly as I, settle in on the ones I want to keep. So, I don't know how many McDavid autographs I have, maybe 1, 2, or maybe 6 or so. And I think I'm good. Like, I'd like to have more, but I don't need more. They're not high on my priority list. But if the right card came along, I might want to grab it.
Well,
and I would do it. I know that the money I'd have to spend would mean I would have to consider the financial ramifications of that. So
here's the way I look at like the question or the Hawerchuk example you just gave. Would you rather have 150 Dale Hawerchuk autos or 5 of the best 10 that you believe in existence?
Well, see, of my 150, I have the best ones that exist. So I have.
Well, that's what I mean. But I mean, if that's I think it goes back to the hoarding, and it's where I'm trying to shift my focus. Is I don't need everything. I would, instead of spending $100 on each on 100 cards, right? I would rather spend $2,000 a piece on 5 really great cards.
Yeah. It's. There's so many to choose from. It's tough for me to answer that. And, some of my favorite Hawerchuk cards don't even have autographs. Like I got all this property ofs that have ever been made. I have all 3 of them. I love those. They're awesome. It's a tough, it's a whole, we could really do a deep dive into that. I think. Timepiece says, did you see the Pavel Bure run for the Cup card sale recently on 90s auctions? Very strong sale. Can't get enough Bure cards and Canucks uniforms. Yeah. Well, those run for the Cups do very well for sure. Jake Dahl does hope one day to get a McDavid autograph. And if you don't have one yet and you want one, like Jacob Dahl, save up for the right one that you want. And just make sure if you're only going to get one, I really hope that you are going to get one that you really love everything about it. The looks of the card, the brand it's from, the year it's from. Doesn't have to be rookie for sure. You'll save a lot of money, especially if it isn't. And Timepiece says, as long as the autos feature on-card signature and cool design, why limit yourself? Yeah, I mean, hey, if you have the budget, go for it. I can't argue with that. Josh, any final comments before we wrap up this show?
No. Good show. Great questions from the chat.
Yeah, thank you, chat. Great to be back here. I feel like we got right back into the swing of things here. And again, just glad to be back. Happy New Year 2025 to everybody. Wishing all the best to everybody in Los Angeles, whether you're homes, businesses, families, pets, friends, loved ones are, impacted. Hope not. I'm sure some of them are, though. And just try to find some clean air to breathe. That's about it for tonight, guys. Thank you, Linda's First, Michael. Thank you, Brett S. Same to you. Good luck, everybody, with your collecting and in the hobby in 2025. Thank you, LGC. I am almost certain an episode of The Gong Show is going to drop in about 6 hours, so check that out. Guys, check out Sports Cards Live from last night. We had an epic episode. Did go for 3.5 hours, so watch it at 2 times if you can, or at least 1.5. Check it out from last night, and I'll be back on next Saturday as well with another episode of SCL 2.0. The Doghouse is in the house. What's going on, Doghouse Cards? Good to see you. Thank you very much. Have a great week yourself. Same to you, Laura. Have a great week. Thank you for being here week after week. Really appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody. With that, this episode of the Fanatics Collect Weekly Hockey Auction Watch Party, on behalf of myself and Josh Madigan of the one and only Hockey Cards Gong Show, this episode is now over.